let's get this started, Kansas City. Steeler Nation, where you at? There we go. It's an honor and a privilege to announce that with the 32nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Joey Porter Jr.
There it is.
CB, Penn State.
So a legacy kid who grew up around the Steelers locker room and then stayed in the state to go to Penn State. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler just like Dad.
And they love the family connections. When you think about this Pittsburgh Steelers group, the Hayward family, the Watt family, you think about the Porter family, the length is rare. You're talking about extremely long arms, and he can run and carry these vertical routes all day long. You see the physicality to get up there and finish tackles out in space. He plays the game very aggressively for a big corner. You love to see that. Here he is as a blitzer. The burst to close and finish. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement in his play. To me, guys, when you think about the AFC, and we talked about Patrick Mahomes a lot last year, there's so many quarterbacks in the AFC you have to work through. Having pass rushers, having corners, you can't have too many.
Wow, look at that what picture. A moment for that family. First of all, he's on the left, by the way. Joey Porter Jr. is on the left there after that Super Bowl victory with his dad on the field. I would say this about him. You know, I've covered him a bunch, and that defense was leaned upon heavily, in particular in 2021 as they tried to figure out the offense at Penn State. And there were several games, guys, that if the defense wouldn't have made a play, and more specifically the secondary, guys like Jair Brown, Jaquan Brisker, and Joey Porter Jr., they were constantly making the plays that quarterbacks normally have to make to win games late.
The Arizona Cardinals have traded the 33rd pick to the Tennessee Titans. With the 33rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky.
Well, I am sure the kid from New England just had a blast talking to his new coach, former Patriot Mike Vrabel. This is a dream come true for Will Levis, and last night was long. His night tonight quite short.
And no doubt. Excited for him. Big arm, very athletic. Was hurt in 2022. You go back to 21, you can see him healthy. He was moving around a lot better. The arm is a big power arm, not only to drive the football, but those deep shots down the field for an offense in Tennessee that needs to be more explosive. Tight NFL window throws. He shows the ability to do that. Off-platform has been good and bad for him. You see some throws like this. Other times, it will impact his accuracy. The toughness, you cannot question. Not only playing with injuries, but the ability to hang in there and take shots. And the athleticism, why don't you just show me a little hurdle here, Will. Get out in space against your rival, Louisville, and show you what you can do as an athlete. So, Will Levis, I know he's got to be a little disappointed, but the good news is they're able to get Peter Skoronski with their first pick, so he's going to play behind a little better offensive line the way this thing shook out.
Well, he's got the arm strength, and this is a guy that has all the intangibles as well. Nick Saban likes to talk about players are either and or but players. You give the scouting report, and then you say, and he's a great teammate, hard worker in the weight room, everybody loves him, or you're a but player, but no one likes him. He doesn't work hard in the weight room. Well, Will Levis is an and player. It's easy to go select him. Are there mistakes? Yes. Does he have ball placement issues at times? Yes. The trajectory, that needs to be worked on. He wasn't fully healthy this year. He is a very good player.
With the 34th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Sam LaPorta, tight end, Iowa.
Sam LaPorta is the second Iowa player drafted by Detroit, and he's going to place TJ Hawkinson, who they traded last year, who was another tight end from Detroit. They find LaPorta here in the second round. Very athletic, outstanding hands. This is a pass-catching tight end. The ability to make adjustments down the field is excellent. He's sudden. He's real quick in and out of breaks. And after the catch, he's one of the best in this draft class. Not only the ability to make you miss, he'll run through tackles and is very physical with the ball in his hands as well. So I thought that was a fascinating move for them to go back to the tight end position, and why not go to the tight end factory in Iowa?
The Indianapolis Colts have traded the 35th pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. With the 35th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame.
There you go. It is a tight end from Notre Dame, a Golden Domer
Yeah, the tight end run has begun. This is the best tight end group we've seen in a decade. Look at the comp on the bottom there. Mark Andrews as a big, rangy, excellent pass receiving tight end who also can get involved in the run game. The big body target that shows up in the red zone. In scouting, we use the phrase combat catches. He has more than any tight end in this draft class. Look at him just peel the ball off the back of the defender. And then that subtlety as a route runner. You see it here, his ability to set up a safety there that we're going to see from Cal, drafted at some point in time over the next day. Dependable blocker. He's not going to maul you, but he is an outstanding leverage blocker. He's going to stay attached, and he understands how to work up to the second level as well. This is a complete tight end, and when we look at next-gen stats powered by AWS, you see the production score where he is just below Dalton Kincaid. I thought he was the second best tight end in the draft.
It's Torrey Holt from the greatest show on turf when the Rams used to play around these parts.
With the 36th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Steve Avila, guard, TCU.
I like it.
Well, they had some serious injury issues on that offensive line that had none in their Super Bowl year. What do you think of this pick?
Well, 332 pounds. I wrote on there the center guard flexibility. You can see him play any of those three interior spots for the Rams. The movement, he's got power. It not only showed up in conference, you saw it in the playoff games. He's a very powerful guy, and he's got some quick feet once he gets out in space to adjust. Here he is against Michigan, very balanced in pass pro. Again, you want to set a firm interior along your offensive line. He's got anchor. I think his best position is actually center.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's played guard, he's played center. I like him best there, but I think that flexibility is big.
With the 37th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Derek Hall, linebacker, Auburn.
Now, this is a Pete Carroll type player. Excellent length and power. He is going to do nothing but run right through your chest. That's what he loves to do as a pass rusher. Some of the bigger games against some of the better tackles, he wasn't quite as impactful, but this guy plays extremely hard, and he's very disruptive. You can see how long he is just watching the video. He's outstanding setting the edge in the run game. You see him doing it against a tackle from Penn State. It's probably going to be a top 10 pick next year. You look at him again as a rusher. This is what he does. He's going to get right into the middle of your chest. He's going to put one hand on one number, the other hand on the other number, and try and drive you right back. In space, there's a little bit of tightness in some of the change of direction, but he can really run, he can close, and the effort is excellent. Here's an example of it right now, peeling back and delivering a big hit. CD, traits, length, something Pete Carroll is always in pursuit of.
They need him to rush the passer.
The Indiana Colts have traded the 38th pick to the Atlanta Falcons. With the 38th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons have selected Matthew Bergeron, guard, Syracuse. Let's go.
Yeah, and they listed him as guard, guys. He was a tackle. I think there was a bunch of teams still had him as a tackle on their board. They listed him as a guard. They're in good shape at tackle there with Atlanta. After just having extended McGarry, you still got Jake Matthews on the other side. CD, he's going to go play inside at guard as they continue to address the offense in this draft. Here's a look at Bergeron again, out at left tackle. He's someone, the more I watched, I started to like him more, and I thought this guy has a chance to hold up at tackle. Immediately, we talked to a couple teams that said, he's going to have to kick inside. I think he can play tackle in a pinch. You saw him at the All-Star game, did a nice job at the Senior Bowl as well. Plays with really good balance. You rarely find him out of position. There was one play against Miles Murphy. He lost to some power. But outside of that, thought he did a nice job of handling those bull rushes you're going to see on a week-in, week-out basis at the NFL level.
Welcome, Pro Bowler and NFL legend Jonathan Stewart.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Nicole and David Tepper and the Carolina Panther organization for this opportunity. And with the 39th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
All right, BJ Moore is out. Jonathan Mingo is in. And this was a coaching darling. Wide receiver coaches, as they got involved in this process, Mingo started to climb. You see his weight there, 220 pounds. This is a draft of smaller receivers, and I don't think Ole Miss produces many of those.
No.
They like the big power forward types. You mix in an Elijah Moore every now and then. But this is run after catch. This is physicality. This is the ability to play physical down the field, go up and get it. To me, breaks a ton of tackles. He can adjust to balls down the field. He's an intriguing player. I still think he's ascending. I still think there's more development to take place. But again, a bigger wide receiver in a class where not many of them exist.
Here comes Roman Harper to make the selection.
Two-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl champion, Roman Harper.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Saints, you're on the clock. And what I want to say is that everybody that gets their name called tonight, your whole family should all celebrate together. It's a special time in all these young people's lives. So let's all give them a round of applause for that. And I also want to give a shout out to my man Mike Ornstein, who had a happy birthday, turned 70 yesterday. You've given so much to me and to the game. With all that being said, with the 40th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Isaiah Foskey, defensive end, Notre Dame.
All right, we got an Orney shout-out and a Foskey drafting.
Yeah, and Foskey, this is to type of what they like in their defensive lineman. You saw with Brzee. I used the word rugged when I watched Isaiah Foskey. He plays over the tight end a lot. He just bullies them in the run game, uses those long arms. That inside long arm is his go-to move. Not the smoothest in space, but very heavy hands and tested out of the gym at the pro day and at the combine. So you have a lot of traits to work with. Think about Marcus Davenport, big rugged guy. Cam Jordan was a big rugged guy. They move on from Davenport. They've got Turner, another big rugged guy. You add Brzee. They have a type is what I'm getting at, Joel.
Well, and by the way, he's super productive, right? Right up there with Justin Tuck in terms of career sack mark at Notre Dame, and he's the first player in Notre Dame history with back-to-back seasons of 11 or more sacks. So this guy knows how to get in the backfield.
With the 41st pick in the 2023 draft, the Arizona Cardinals select B.J. Ojulari, linebacker, LSU.
All right, so one of the top edge rushers still available is going to the desert.
Yeah, listed as a linebacker, but he's going to stand up on the edge. That's what he did at LSU. And we've talked about maybe some of these other guys being real long-armed and maybe a little bit tightly wound. This is back to more of a loose, fluid rusher, a really good athlete in B.J. Ojulari. Obviously, his brother Azeez Ojulari, already with the Giants, is a really solid pass rusher. Again, loose and active. He can bend and close. Once he gets to the top, he can bend, and then there's a burst that he possesses to close and finish. Not going to sit there and stack and shed blocks, prefers just dip and slip underneath blocks to get in the backfield and make plays. And again, I'm always looking at backside effort and chase. He does that a lot there for LSU. This is a good player. I think it's a really good value where they got him here in the second round.
Yeah, and the thing about getting him there, obviously, for Jonathan Gannon, the new head coach and defensive coordinator, what was the thing they said about him all the time in Philadelphia? He doesn't blitz. Well, if he's not going to blitz, you need a guy who can bring pressure. Ojulari can do that. And remember, Kayvon Chason came out of there. And these guys all wore that number 18 at LSU, which meant that they were highly respected in the program.
With the 42nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Luke Musgrave, tight end, Oregon State.
All right, so they just added a Luke to their Lucas. Van Ness has now got Musgrave as a teammate, as a rookie.
And this is the tight end run. Again, we talked about the depth. This dude, if he had been healthy, he would have been long gone by now. Only 2 games this year. Reminded me of Greg Olsen because of that size, frame, and ability to really stretch the seam down the field. Consistency catching the football. He can get the ball outside of his frame. Some of these guys, they try and corral the ball with their body. He is a hands catcher. After the catch, you're going to see the speed that he has. It can really, really go once he gets out there in the open field. He ran a 4.61. There was some thought he might even run in the 4.4s. And a willing blocker, a get in the way, wall you off blocker. He's satisfactory in that level, but you're drafting him for what he's going to do in the pass game, and he's going to survive with what he does here in the run game, Joel.
And they were building a run-first mentality up there. I think his production was down a little bit. You said the injury, absolutely, but also just their mentality up there at Oregon State. Last thing I would say is he's a competition skier, or was as a kid. His mom was a competitive skier, a downhill skier. He was on her team, and he's part of the Musgrave family. Doug and Bill, all of those guys.
And you know what competitive skiers are? Fearless. Absolutely fearless.
D'Brickashaw Ferguson.
I want to say hello to my daughters, Eden and Emery. Daddy loves you. With the 43rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Joe Tippmann, center, Wisconsin.
All right.
Yeah, Joe Tippmann, to me, he was the second interior offensive lineman in this draft behind Peter Skoronski. Bend and balance. Look at the size, 6'6", 313 pounds. Think of a guy like Max Unger who played the center position at that height, but he can really bend. He's an unusual thing to see a center that big that can really drop his weight and bend. You see the ability to finish. He's always looking for work, always looking to finish. Lateral quickness to be able to seal defensive tackles. He gives you that ability. An athletic puller. You get a center that can do this. It adds so much to your offense. Think about Breece Hall running behind a center like this that can get out in space and make things happen. I think this guy is gifted. I think he's one of the more athletic interior guys you're going to see. And again, the second best one in this draft class. This is a 10-year starter in the NFL. As we go to the Next Gen Stats powered by AWS. Joe Thomas there at Wisconsin obviously is going to be at the top of the list, but that's some heady company that he keeps there in that group of Wisconsin linemen.
With the 44th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Julius Brent, defensive back, Kansas State.
Well, the Combine is in Indianapolis, and I'm pretty sure the Colts are paying attention because they got the two stars in Anthony Richardson and now Julius Brent. Julius Brent jumped 41.5, broad jumped 11.6. He put on a show there. He is long corner, 34-inch arms and 82 and 5/8-inch wingspan. He's like a condor out there in the secondary. Here he is working against Quentin Johnston. Watch him find the football, lands in his lap there in the end zone. But this guy, again, traits. Chris Ballard, traits. That has been something he always comes back.
His shoes, I guess.
The Green Bay Packers have traded the 45th pick to the Detroit Lions. With the 45th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Brian Branch, defensive back, Alabama.
All right, so the last prospect sitting in Union Station is about to come out of the station and pull into Detroit.
It makes sense now with the trade, too. You ask, why do you get ahead of New England? Well, when you want to go get a versatile, smart, tough Alabama player, you think Bill Belichick's not dialed in with him? So that's why they leap in front to get him to Detroit. And I thought he's the best nickel. Think about nickel corners. They're starters in this league right now. He did a lot of that there. He majored in that at Alabama. Can also play some safety. If you wanted to in a pinch, you could kick out and play corner CD, and he can return some kicks for you as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they have overhauled their secondary, Joel, from last season when you started thinking about Manuel Mosley coming in from San Francisco off of a knee injury. And then they also brought in Cam Sutton, who can also play the nickel position. But they had to get better on the back end. This guy helped them get better in a hurry.
I would argue he's the most versatile DB in the draft because he can play man-to-man in that slot and the nickel, DJ, but he can drop back into the middle of the field as well.
And look at that hug. I'm sorry I had to jump in there. That's the hug of a young man who had to sit there last night, not get picked. And while we talked earlier, the ones that went home, understandable. No one's holding that against him. He's hung in there, and he's here for the second night.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be some teams when it's all said and done that regret on passing on this player. Did not run the fastest 40 time, but he plays fast, and he has a GPS for the football. Again, watch it. He trusts his eyes, just like we talked about with Witherspoon, who we thought Detroit might take early. Similar type players in terms of the aggressiveness and how they trust their instincts. As a blitzer, outstanding coming off that slot with timing and burst. Zone instincts, knows where his help is, knows leverage, reads the quarterback's eyes, drives on the football, and makes a play. Get your head around, locate the football. Don't just try and poke it away, finish. It's all about the ball. He's been coached extremely well at Alabama. He's going to be able to handle a lot of responsibilities for Aaron Glenn in this defense.
The intelligence is what the coaching staff always talked about with him. And some of them said, hey, he might know the defense better than the veterans in camp. That's how smart he is. Started 3 games as a true freshman, and Nick Saban's secondary at Alabama played that star position that Mika Fitzpatrick played there for the Tide.
See Alabama picks right there, Rich. You see all those guys. And the last thing to Cap Branch, you mentioned it, Nick Saban's secondary. He may be the head coach. Where does he spend the majority of his time in practice?
Almost exclusively with the secondary.
And if you can stand up there and handle the pressure he's going to put on you and be the quarterback of the defense from the back end, you're going to go in the NFL well-schooled, and the pressure won't get to you.
So Melissa Stark is with the final prospect here in Kansas City.
The 6-time Super Bowl champion, the New England Patriots, will play a game in Germany this year. So I wanted to give a special shout out to all the fans in Germany and everywhere else in the world. But without further ado, with the 46th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Keon White, defensive end, Georgia Tech.
All right. This is, I believe this is my best available player. He's my 28th overall player, so he was here. I know he's probably frustrated he didn't go last night, but he's at home now hearing his name called. Excited for him for this opportunity. Quite a journey. A former tight end at Old Dominion ends up transferring to Georgia Tech. And when I first popped on the tape, I was like, holy smokes, I don't know anything about this guy, but he is twitched up and heavy-handed coming off the edge. They use him inside, they use him outside. This was the first tape I watched against North Carolina. And sometimes you'll see defensive linemen get stuck and the play is over. He has a nice second reaction game where he can try and put another move together, free himself, and get some late pressure. You see that interior rush. Again, he's 285 pounds, and he can run around and make plays in space, including in coverage. As you see right here on a wheel route, you don't see guys this big, 285 pounds, peeling off with running backs that often. He's a very, very talented guy with long arms and versatility. You know that's a fit in New England.
And Super Bowl champion London Fletcher.
What's going on, Burgundy and Gold faithful?
London Fletcher.
Hail to the Commanders. With the 47th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jartavius Martin, defensive back, Illinois.
So, guys, we got a little nickel run here. We talk about Brian Branch being the #1 nickel in this draft. This is the second best nickel in the draft. He's plug and play. That was a very gifted, talented secondary there at Illinois. We're going to hear another member of that secondary's name called a little bit later on. But again, put him right in the slot. You can blitz him. He's a great filler against the run, great support player, and outstanding eyes in coverage, Joel.
The combination between he and Devin Witherspoon was perfect for Ryan Walters, their defensive coordinator. A lot of man coverage, very aggressive, but you're right. He can play anywhere. And Ryan told me that the versatility that Quan was able to give him, Quan Martin is what he goes by, that's what allowed the whole defense to tick, because he could move Sidney Brown around. Devin could just sit on the outside.
Thank you to our service members serving both here and around the world. We are grateful for all that you do to keep us safe. The Green Bay Packers have traded the 48th pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the 48th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Cody Moore, guard, North Dakota State.
This guy is a stud. Look at that smile. The teeth, once they were out, there was no need to put him back in. He just rocked with it. He made it a lifestyle. When he plays, he has 5-position versatility. He literally can play any position along the offensive line. And Jason Light loves going to small schools to get big-time players.
And with a big personality from North Dakota, he is going to Tampa, Florida to help protect Baker Mayfield, to be upright, to find those receivers that we saw Tom Brady find so well over the last several years. Congratulations to this man.
With the 49th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Keanu Benton, defensive tackle, Wisconsin.
Yeah, we all like Keanu Benton. We talked about him a little bit last night. The quick hands. You see his ability to win early, kind of get on an edge and win that way, but then he can also hang in there and be real stout against the run, really firm at the point of attack. His ability to get underneath guys, uproot them, and then really close on the quarterback. And the Senior Bowl was a phenomenal week. You see the quick spin here, or the quick swim move here. Here he is again, that long arm, locking him out at the point of attack. The Steelers got 3 of my top 40 players. I mean, I like what they're doing there in Pittsburgh.
I thought the Senior Bowl week for him was a week to show people he could actually get upfield and rush the passer.
No doubt.
A lot of people felt like he was a good run plugger. I think he felt like he'd heard the whispers, Joel. Hey, I've got to show a little something extra here. He spent the entire week doing exactly that. Every day get better and better. And by the end of the week, he was really, really hard to.
Jordan Love, we got some help for you.
Oh, boy.
With the 50th pick
He's tipping picks.
in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers, the best franchise, by the way, in my opinion, select Jayden Reed, wide receiver, Michigan State. We always get good receivers in the second round.
I'm with you. They do a great job of finding receivers in the second round, and this is one with some real speed. He ran 4.45. He plays much faster than that. He's creative with his ability to make people miss after the catch. You see his ability to adjust down the field. He's a little under 5'11", but he plays much bigger going up and getting the ball above the rim. Has that my ball attitude. If it's a 50-50 ball, he's coming down with it.
Being said, with the 51st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, my Miami Dolphins select Cam Smith, defensive back, South Carolina.
Yeah, Cam Smith is a very gifted athlete. Ran 4.43, jumped 38 inches. Really loose, really fluid, really smooth. You love his movement skills. Just got to do a little bit better job of not grabbing on. Had 10 penalties this year. That bothered some teams. He's a wrap drag tackler. So you're going to see he's just going to try and get you on the ground. Not a ultra physical player. You see that pop right there. Normally he's going to find a way just to wrap you, drag you, get you on the ground. Opinions were all over the map around the league on him. Some thought he could sneak into the first round. Some thought he might be there in the third.
With the 52nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Zack Carraway, running back, UCLA. Go Hawks, baby.
All right. We've got a couple running backs now with Kenneth Walker now and Zack Carraway. Joel, I'll let you jump in on this one. This dude finishes runs. He's got excellent hands. And when you talk to Chip Kelly and the folks at UCLA, character, leadership, work ethic off the charts.
Yep. He transferred from Michigan back to UCLA really to be around his younger sister who had Williams syndrome. And I tell you, this guy is a loyal guy. He's a powerful runner. And CD, he is very smart. He can catch it out of the backfield. Maybe not as explosive as the guys last night and Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. But boy, he is a versatile player that I think is going to help them right away. This feels like a Seattle pick.
It certainly does. And remember, Robert Turbin was up in Seattle after Marshawn Lynch. They always like those physical, strong backs. And they don't mind having a plethora of them to run the football.
With the 53rd pick of the 2023 draft, Chicago Bears select Javon Dexter Sr., Florida Gators D tackle.
All right, what do you think?
We had a hurricane announcing a Gator there, but Dexter he's kind of the definition of a flash player because you'll see certain plays in certain games where you're like, whoa, this guy has got some big-time juice. He's almost 6'6". He's 310 pounds. So he plays like somebody that's much smaller in terms of his athleticism and his burst. Ran really well, ran a 4.8, 840. He's got some knockback, but it's just a consistency. If he had been consistent with those flashes that you see, he would have been a first-round pick all day long. You can see how dynamic he is.
Do you know where he was rated, who he was rated just ahead of in recruiting? Jalen Carter. So, he's got the talent.
You
but
can
you're right.
see the glimpses
You can
of it.
see it. There's glimpses there, and he's like a developmental type of guy. If you can get that out of him, man, he could be a special player.
The 54th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Chargers select Tuli Tuipulotu, linebacker, USC. Let's go!
The Chargers not too long ago went to USC and got Chenna Nwosu, played well for him, then left in free agency, went to Seattle. They go back to USC, get another guy with tremendous production for the Trojans. Some wondered, okay, is he going to bulk up and kick inside, or do you keep him out on the edge? I think he's most comfortable out there on the edge. Really, really good with his hands. The ability to get off blocks and make plays, and he's one of those guys kind of always around the football. They use him some as a 4-eye, so inside the tackle, and then sometimes they really kick him out in that wide 9 and give him a runway. I like him best out there. I think his power plays and I think this guy has a real knack as a rusher.
Had a bit of a hamstring that slowed his draft process, but you're right about the production. Led the country in sacks last year, and that movement defense for their defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch. And by the way, that was not a great defense, so the tape was tough to watch, except for when Thule was in the backfield.
First of all, the Buddy family would like to thank the family of the National Football League that's represented here, and also the Hunt family that has allowed my dad and I's dreams to come true. And now the beat goes on for the next generation. The Detroit Lions have traded the 55th pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. With that pick in the 2002-03 draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Rashied Rice, wide receiver, SMU.
All right, so they go wide out, but this is probably more in the mold of losing JuJu SmithSchuster and finding somebody to fill that role with Rice. He's got unbelievable hands, and he's outstanding after the catch. The question was just going to be the pure speed. We're talking about them maybe looking for speed, CD. This is somebody that's all about acrobatic catches down the field, contested catches, as you see right here. His highlight reel of grabs is as good as any in this draft. The ball skills are elite, and he's very strong and tough after the catch.
Well, he's so productive. 230 catches, 3,000 yards. Like I said, like when I watched him, I thought, boy, like this guy is so productive. He's so good. There's so much to love about him. And then I saw all these lists, and I was like, why is he so much lower than these other players? Because, again, productivity screams out.
Yeah, but why is he so much lower? What conference did he play in? American Athletic Conference. Sometimes that takes you down a bit. But going back to what DJ was talking about, to replace JuJu SmithSchuster, people forget JuJu SmithSchuster is a solidly built young man.
Yeah.
All right? This kid's 204 pounds. So when he runs those underneath drag routes and he runs those routes to the inside, he has this type of size who can go up and snatch the football, take the hit, and complete the catch.
We have some breaking news. The Jacksonville Jaguars have traded the 56th pick to the Chicago Bears. With the 56th pick in 2023 draft, Chicago Bears select Tyreke Stevenson, DB, University of Miami.
There you go.
It's only fitting that Devin Hester would have to return and make another pick.
Well, they made him pick a guy from Florida the last time, so now they made up for it.
There you go. Let's make things right. Tyreke Stevenson is a transfer from Georgia. Played inside there, goes to Miami so he can play outside. The toughness I love. That's the first thing I wrote down when I was studying him. He loves to go nose to nose, play man to man, very physical, very tough. And you see him get under the skin of some of his opponents with that energy he plays with. There's the zone instincts, able to sink underneath that route, down the field, go up and attack the ball at the highest point. Here he is against Kenny Pickett, showing you an example again of the ball skills down the field. Some teams thought he might end up being a safety. He's played nickel, he's played outside. To me, wherever you play him, you're getting one tough, competitive defensive back.
Now let's get to business. We're looking for smart. We're looking for tough. We're looking for dependable. With the 57th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, our New York Football Giants select John Michael Schmitz, center, Minnesota.
Guys, I love this pick. First of all, he committed to PJ Fleck originally at Western Michigan and then followed him to Minnesota. And if that sounds like a long time ago, it's because it was. He's been in college now for 6 years, took advantage of that COVID year. But like Tippmann earlier from Wisconsin, also athletic. Maybe not as tall as Tippmann, but he can get out laterally and move from the center position, pull out there in that RPO-based scheme. And rest assured, they were running the rock at Minnesota. And the big reason why was John Michael Schmitz.
Yeah, elite makeup. Everybody that went into that school, they raved about this. This is a guy you would consider a Red Star player, going to be a leader immediately in that room.
With the 58th pick,
yes,
in the 2023 NFL Draft, the five-time world champion Dallas Cowboys select Luke Schoonmaker, tight end from Michigan. Hut, 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 hut.
He is the best. Another Wolverine here for the Dallas Cowboys.
Keep going.
And right before you get started.
I knew the Joneses were smart people.
I knew right before you get started. Why didn't he reference that Kansas City was the Dallas Texans before they became the Kansas City Chiefs?
Could have gone old school.
Could have gone old school. Go ahead.
Look, Schoonmaker to me is inline tight end, real easy mover. They can move him around in that offense. They throw him a lot of these tight end screens. Just get the ball in his hands, and he makes things happen. You see what he did as a lead blocker there to help that run game. They love going to the Big Ten for tight ends. They've done it recently here. You look at Jake Ferguson from Wisconsin. They go get Hendershot from Indiana. Now they go to Michigan to get Schoonmaker.
He had an AC joint issue in his shoulders this year, but his production picked up huge after Eric All, their best tight end, went down with a season-ending injury.
With the 59th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Osiris Torrance, guard out of Florida.
Yeah, this is value here with Osiris Torrance. There was a lot of talk about him going in round number 1. They end up getting him here in the second round. His cleats are always in the ground, which allows him to play with a lot of power with his base. He's able to clear lanes. He started out at Louisiana, transferred with his head coach to go to Florida, and the upgrade in competition was not an issue for him at all. Overwhelming linebackers at the second level, winning one-on-one, being left one-on-one against some of the best guys in the country, including Jalen Carter that you're looking at right there. This is a firm interior player. So if you're a quarterback, the one thing you want is you want to be firm up the middle. This guy provides that.
And you remember when Mike Tyson made his first comeback? And he had a hype guy at the press conference screaming, "The butt kicker is back. The number one butt kicker in the business is back." That's Osiris Torrance up front. And guess what? They're going to need him because he's going to need to block Quinnen Williams of the Jets. Going to need to block Christian Wilkins of the Dolphins if they want to do what they want to do. And then, of course, you got to deal with the Bengals, and you got to deal all the way down the line with Kansas City.
Now it's time for A.J. Green to make this announcement.
What up, Who Dat Nation? Man, it's an honor to be here. With the 60th pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals selects G.J. Turner, corner, Michigan.
Guys, DJ Turner is a heck of a corner, but he really started to show out and rise up draft boards when he blazed that 40 at the Combine, fastest 40 there in Indianapolis. This is a defense that was predicated on building that run front with Mazi Smith, hard edges on the outside, and then great cover corners on the outside. DJ Turner is one of those guys. I'll be honest. At times, I thought he was overshadowed by a true freshman on the field, Will Johnson, who we'll talk about in a couple of years. But when you turn on his tape, he's aggressive. DJ can get a little handsy at times, which all the other coaches in the Big Ten will say, well, of course, it's Michigan. He gets away with everything.
He's got easy speed, though. That speed we saw at the Combine, you see it on the field.
Well, I mean, if you play, in Cincinnati, what's the most important thing when you draft somebody is somebody who knows how to win in the state of Ohio. So check that box. I mean, we talk about checking boxes.
All right. With the 61st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Brenton Strange, tight end, Penn State.
Guys, Brenton Strange, he's got a lot of talent. In fact, James Franklin, his head coach, he kept telling me over the last couple of years, hey, my tight end room is better than it's ever been. And I'm like, I always used to argue with him. I'm like, you had Mike Gesicki, you had Freiermuth, you had a bunch of dudes. And he's like, Strange is one of those dudes. Well, he finally started producing last year, DJ. It wasn't off the charts. Strange is the move tight end in that offense. He did a lot of things well. He can block well, but it never ultimately produced like those other guys I talked about.
Yeah, but I think when you're looking for guys that can block, that jumped off the tape to me. I'd heard he was really athletic. I put the tape on. He's in that flex position. He'll work out and he'll get after people in the run game. So to me, I think there's some versatility. Doug Peterson knows what to do with tight ends. Had a bunch of them in Philadelphia.
The Rookie of the Year and NFL legend Brian Turchy.
Kansas City, how we doing? Houston Texans are making moves. The Philadelphia Eagles have traded the 62nd pick to the Houston Texans. And with the 62nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select JuJu Scruggs, center, Penn State. Go Texans.
We've seen a big run on interior offensive linemen here in round number 2. You see the size there with Scruggs as a center. Does a nice job keeping his hands inside. Just kind of uses those pads as a steering wheel, CD. Keep your hands inside, controls that way. He can latch and create some movement at the point of attack. There's just times, though, you see his legs die a little bit on contact. So I just want to see him be more consistent in that area. I know he can do it. Just want to see the consistency improve. I thought he's better as a power player than as a move space type player.
Yeah, kind of reminds you a little bit of Mustapher, right? Remember him coming out of there, Sam Mustapher? And then when you think about it also, a bigger version of AQ Shipley.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to talk about AQ Shipley, had too short of arms, couldn't play. Heck, he was playing on an NFC team with the Arizona Cardinals that went to the NFC title game as a starter. Penn State centers, they will battle you. And these guys are in the long line of those people.
I would just say, what a moment for Juice Scruggs, who had a horrific car accident early in his college career, and they thought he might never play again, and he just worked himself back for 2 straight years, Rich, to get on the field. And here he is, a second-round draft pick.
The Detroit Lions have traded the 63rd pick to the Denver Broncos. With the 63rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Marvin Mims, wide receiver, Oklahoma.
I'm glad to see Marvin Mims land in the second round. I didn't understand why there wasn't more buzz about him, because when you pop on the tape, you see the production, you see the suddenness, and our coworker Emmanuel Sanders at the NFL Network, that's the comp that came to me when I'm watching him. He's got vertical speed. You'll see his ability to separate. You could really see it when he had Caleb Williams back there at quarterback. He attacks safeties, understanding their leverage. He spins guys around like tops down the field. And Joel, the hands are strong. He can go up and get the ball. I know he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's 183 pounds. He plays bigger than that down the field.
The linear routes are just so good down the field. In fact, he averaged over 20 yards per catch. He had 45 catches of over 20 yards. He's a high production guy in high school Texas, and Texas high school football set a record for over 5,000 yards. I'm with you on this one. This is the type of guy that can help you, and in particular, help you get down the field and stretch the defense.
And they have a lot of receivers in Denver. So when you're sitting there thinking you're going to add Marvin Mims to this group with KJ Hamler and the rest of that crew, does that mean that there's room for someone who wants to come get someone?